Good evening, everyone, and my name is Jenna Wheeler. I want to start by thanking you all for taking the time out to join me on this web conference this evening. I am with the New Jersey Puppy Rescue Organization out of Hunterdon County, New Jersey. I have been selected here tonight to speak with you all, which it looks like right now we have several hundred of you in the chat with us, to speak with you all on an issue that is near and dear to many of our hearts: rescue. I'm sure many of you, like myself, started out perhaps rescuing a dog or cat or other animal of your own, and from there our passion has grown exponentially to the point where we have taken on the responsibility of being proud foster homes. Many of you, like myself, have formed a formal organization. Us at New Jersey Puppy Rescue, we have been active for going on 13 years now as of the summer of 2020, which is very exciting for us. We've adopted out thousands and thousands. Primarily, we handle puppy rescue, so mainly dogs, but we've definitely had our fair share of other animals. That being said, I want to just lead into this tonight. For those of you who are joining who maybe are not foster parents yet, who are thinking about adopting and aren't sure if it's the right avenue for you, or are thinking about potentially becoming a foster home and starting your own organization like many of us on this call, including myself, have. So to start it off on a little bit of a heavier note, I'm sure many of you in the business have heard of euthanasia. Perhaps those who are not yet in the business or are looking to adopt have not heard of this. This was the undefined precedent of why I started to get involved with rescue. My boyfriend's family had founded New Jersey Puppy Rescue. I've been a part of it for now over 10 years. And when I found out what euthanasia was, and just a quick reference to the PETA site, euthanasia is more or less a humane way of putting animals down. Now, there are many unfortunate cases where, and this is right from PETA statistic they did a very large study on, where animals were still being killed and put down in inhumane ways. Compression chambers, gases, gunshots, just really horrible, drastic ways of unfortunately ending these animals' lives, mainly, unfortunately, due to overcrowding. And this is where we come in as foster homes, as rescue organizations, as adopters. This is what we are trying to rectify and to stop. Now, there is a need and a problem that we need to address this evening, and this goes for those of you in and out of the organization. It is vetting appropriate adopters. Now, this is key. Many of us who jump into this business may not know where to start when it comes to vetting adopters for our rescue pets that we get. Now, when it comes to vetting, my process and how we do things at New Jersey Puppy Rescue, we have an application process. That application is reviewed, vets are referenced, people list references that we do call, every single one of them on the application to cross-reference to see, is there a reason that this pet, this animal, this living, breathing thing should not go to this particular individual? Do they have the time? Do they have the space? Are they able to take care of a pet? Are there other pets that may interfere? There's a whole slew of factors that go into this process. Now, when starting out, unfortunately, so many people may jump in and think, oh, I can be a foster parent. I can take one or two dogs and find them a home. And unfortunately, many of the times that this is actually done and not looked into, these animals wind up being adopted out to unsuitable homes, and these animals unfortunately either end up on the street, back in a shelter that's overcrowded. And I don't know if many of you have heard of the 3 to 5 day rule, but the 3 to 5 day rule, and this is verbatim from the shelters that we work with, primarily the ones we work with, just to give you a point of reference, parents are in Bowling Green, Kentucky, or out of West Virginia, where there's not as strict laws, I'm sure all of you know, on puppy mills down there. So there's a lot of overproduction of animals who unfortunately suffer as a result of that. But the 3 to 5 day rule, if shelters are overcrowded, most of the time they either will euthanize their dogs through lethal injection. So, more or less, the way you or I may put a dog at the end of its life or an animal down at the end of its life, that would be the process through lethal injection. Unfortunately, some shelters do not have the funds to do that for every single dog or animal that comes into their doors. They do have vets there on hand that actually wind up putting the animal down just by poking them with a needle in their heart. And as horrible as that is to say, this is why the vetting process, and when we get these animals, we need to do our best, and we need to do our due diligence to find them homes, proper homes where they're not going to be discarded or end up in a situation where they end up back in a shelter unbeknownst to us. If these people we're adopting out to feel embarrassed or feel some kind of way about contacting us, the rescue that we that they acquired their pet from, a lot of the times I've seen where they've put them on the street, put them to a random shelter where it's overcrowded, they're in there for a couple of days, and unfortunately that's it. So this vetting process is a huge deal that we want to recognize as an issue that we really need to put our efforts and concern towards. Now, when it comes to the carelessness sometimes of our adopters, that is what we need to address. We need to put standards in place. Now, when it comes to these standards, obviously everybody does rescue a little bit differently. Some have their own facilities where they keep dogs, similar to a kennel kind of situation. Others, like myself, we keep them at our home. And we have a designated kennel area both in and outside for the dogs where we can give them proper care round the clock, always there monitoring. There are variations, but there should be some standards on cleanliness, quality of life, just that the dogs have a safe, secure area to be held, to be taken care of, to have these rescues and these foster parents receiving or being able to receive donations, because the medicine that these dogs need, especially coming from a puppy mill or a shelter situation, a lot of the times is necessary and critical to their survival after we get the dogs out of a transport. And a lot of the times the process, for those of you who are not in the industry and maybe are thinking about it, or just for your knowledge, we actually have these dogs coming from shelters and from puppy mills all over the country. Again, I and my rescue primarily deal with out of the Bowling Green, Kentucky area, and in the West Virginia area. Lots of strays, lots of shopping cart dogs, as we call them, unfortunately. But we get them on a transport. We actually have a lovely lady, Virginia, who is part of an organization who rescues dogs called the Southern Kennel Alliance. She actually takes the time out to drive a truck lined with kennels through the night to a transport location, which is near me in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And we actually go and pick up the dogs along with maybe about a dozen other rescues in the area. And all of us take however many we can, however many litters we can, about every 2 to 3 weeks at a time is when she does the transport every week, and different groups will go on different weeks. But personally, most of us rotate on like a 2 to 3 week schedule for when we get new dogs. This process of getting these dogs is stressful, and finding them proper homes is that next step that is imperative. Now, these standards, again, just to back up a little bit, would be to set the precedent. What do we expect? How can we get these organizations funding? How can we get them donations? How can we make a difference in putting something in place to help vet the quality of life that these dogs are going to be having with their potential future owners and their forever homes? Now, in order to make this possible, we are asking all foster homes, foster and rescue organizations domestically. We're starting with the East Coast here in our states of New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. The tri-state area here will be our kind of test run for this, since we do have a large quantity of rescue areas in and out of the city of New York, Philadelphia, etc. We are asking them to download our app, and you can download our app. It's going to be downloadable at NJPR is the name of the app, New Jersey Puppy Rescue. This is going to be our beta. The name may change in the future, but the app's premise will stay the same. It can be downloaded direct from our website, njpr.petfinder.com. As you know, Petfinder is the parent company for our website. And we will be asking all of you to sign up on the app. Currently, it is in a beta set, so we will be rolling it out in the next 2 weeks. So again, njpr.petfinder.com. You'll be able to find educational material if you are looking to get into rescue yourself. You'll be able to see a list of donation areas where you can sign up to be affiliated for a pickup, from anything from food to toys to vouchers for different medications. People can put monetary donations in there, and this will all be available in the upcoming month here. So again, the educational material available on the app will go over some of the standards more in depth that we are looking to get in place, as well as a standardized, which is what we are trying to push for, standardized vetting process in order to find these animals their forever homes. Again, I am available afterwards at my email, jenna.wheeler at .njpr.com. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions on the user end of the app. Also, please reach out. I really thank you all for joining me today. We really hope to get this vetting issue under control so that we can, pair up some really great animals with their forever homes, 4 paws at a time. All right. Thank you all for joining me, and I will talk to you on the next webinar. Take care.